Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world away, and today I'm going to be doing the next 6 stages, which is stages 21 to 26 at a Fanhome release, a build the Fast and Furious Toyota Supra. Okay, it looks like today, as you can see from the back here, we are starting to do the interior of the car. We have got about 3 or 4 stages just left on the engine and suspension, but we are going to be putting the internals together. Now, just for transparency, issue 25, which I have got, let me get it right, here. I have got the magazine, but they didn't send the parts. So I've had to get in touch with Fanhome to get the parts for this sent. I believe it is a wheel arch here. Now, you think about how many builds I'm doing on the channel. I very, very rarely get this. I very rarely get this, but it's quite simple. I just go to my account screen. I click on what one I haven't got. They ask you to upload a photo, so all I did was open the box up and just take a picture of everything that I do have in the box and send that to them. And they're going to send out issue 25 shortly. So it's not going to impede the build at all because it is a wheel arch. I can do the one on the other side to demonstrate what I'm doing, but I will show you the instructions when we get to issue 25 as well. But I don't actually have parts for it, just the magazine. If you do want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the video description. You've got that QR code on the screen, but without further ado, let's get cracking. So just to remind you, this is where we were at last time, looking good. We don't have any steering rack at the moment, so I wouldn't be surprised if we're doing that first off. Let's just put that to one side and check this out. So this is stage 21. I'm guessing it's gonna have something to do with the steering. Let's have a look. We've got the front chassis cross member. So yep, here we go. There's the steering rack just there. So we're going to be putting this onto what we just created there. So at the end, that's how it's looking. And here is everything in stage 21. Quite heavy. So I'm guessing a lot of these parts are metal. That steering rack is metal. As a matter of fact, the sway bar as well is metal. And I'm going to put this into place. So I've got it upside down this way round. So these connectors that we've got either side here, which are basically just drop links here, that's how this is going to attach. This is going to be attaching either side to those on here. So you just want to move them into position so I can get that in. It's got to be this way round. And I'm holding them in with AM screws. So one in that side. And I'll just line up the other side there. Doesn't matter too much about this moving like that because obviously it's meant to be able to move like this, you see. Okay, that's in. What's going to stop it moving is I'm going to put it into position just there. And I've got these brackets which are going to go over the top to keep that into position. Once again, holding those in with AM screws. So it takes 2 each side. Put one on the other side. That's just going to reinforce that section there. Perfect. That's in place. Then I've got this cross member I'm going to put in. This cross member, very heavy, and guess what? It's metal. That's just going to go into the front, just like that. Holding that in with a BM screw, actually 2 BM screws, one each side. These are a little bit more chunky, the screws are here, so I'm going to use my PH1 screwdriver and get one in that side. And one just in the other side there. Perfect. I'm then going to close that off the front of this by putting this plate over, which is then going to hide those screws and create some holes for more screws, which are IM screws, which I've got here. Going to need 3 of those, and that's going to keep this plate into position. So I'll put the middle one in first. That's going to hold that in, and then I'll put one each side. And now I've got these MM screws. Get them open, and I do need the steering rack now. Now, I want the steering rack, let's get this the right way round. If this is upside down, I can tell that because of the way this zigzags like that. I want this part to be on my left side here. So this is going to be going onto the wheels. This way round, one this side, under here, and then onto the other side here. Bit fiddly, but as you can see, that's in place. So I'm going to screw these in with these flange screws. That one's just going to need a tiny bit of percussive force to get that in. There you go. Put a screw in that side. Perfect. So now these should be linked when I turn like that. That's good. I like that. And with that in place, for some reason I've got loads of these screws left over. I don't know why we've got so many. Let me just check how many I was meant to get. I was meant to get 5. I've used 2. I don't think I was meant to use any more anywhere else. So yeah, I do have those left over. That's all there is to do in that stage. So stage 22. Here's the instructions. Looking like this. And we have got the massive floor pan now, as you can see. Some insulated tape and a pipe. This is big. I will be showing you. I'm going to be attaching what we just created to that floor pan chassis. It's part of the chassis, actually. Just like that. So that's how this is looking. So get this open. Making sure everything's out of here, which it is. I'll just put all of those parts to that side so you can see this. This is a solid piece of metal. Look at that. Okay, I don't need that at the moment. Let me just put that to one side. What I do need is just this fuel filter here. And I'm going to be putting in a pipe. Now the pipe's actually going to be going into the nipple just on the end here. So just rocking that into position. There you go. That's in position. I want to take this section and turn it over this way, because I'm going to be putting this into position just here. Now, the lug at the bottom of this is going through that hole, and that's going to line that up into position there. It's held in with an IM screw. Perfect, just there. Now, I have glued in this pipe because there's a danger of that falling out. And while I've got that now, I can put in this part that we've been creating. So this is going to be going on here just like that, this way round. Now I'm holding it in with BM screws each side. So if I do get one BM screw in here first, that's going to lift that up, make it easier to put all the rest of them in. There you go. So I've got one each side, then I'm just going to be putting one each side underneath. Okay, this is where I'm going to need the tape now. So I'm just going to get this unravelled. And I've cut around about 1.5 inches of tape off here, because what I'm going to do is with these pipes now, which are coming from this section, I'm just going to start unravelling them. I'm going to want these to be traced down the centre tunnel of the chassis. So I'm going to put these 2 here first, and then put some tape in to hold them into place like that. And then have these coming all the way down the tunnel. And do the same thing at this side at the back. That'll keep them moving. And that is all there is to do in that stage. So stage 23. Here is the instructions. Looking good. And we have got some chassis reinforcements here, which I'm going to be putting into place either side. Then it looks like we're taking the engine and we're actually going to be dropping the engine into that chassis. So that's going to look pretty impressive. So that's how that's looking. And this is what this stage looks like. And bring over what we've been working on and put these into position. So they're actually going to be going into the points just here. And also on the other side, just here, this way round. They're lining up with the lugs underneath. They're actually held in with AP screws from the other side. So I've got some AP screws ready. Turn this over, and they're actually screwed in through the 3 holes just into the centre here. And what we've done on one side, I'm just going to do on the other. It sits quite flat actually, so you can actually just leave it lying down and it will push those reinforcements up for your screw to bite quite easily. Okay, with this last screw going in, I just need to get the engine. And just to remind you, this is what the engine's looking like. Now I do need to attach this cable here underneath the engine. So let me just figure out where that's going. It's going on the nipple that I've got just at the end of this here, which is a apparently it's a positive battery wire I'm plugging in here. I have got my glue at hand just to put on top of that nipple, because this is the cable that's going to come out, you know it is. And I'm just going to push this pipe into place, cable should I say. Excellent, that's in, just like that. Okay, we're going to want to put this into the engine bay, sort of like at an angle like that, and then it's going to be sitting flush in here. Now I want this to actually be sitting onto the panel underneath, because I'm holding it in with BM screws. I'm going to want this to sit just here, and I'm just lining up these engine mounts either side. You should find that the sump here should be sitting in the middle of this section here. Now once you're happy with where it is, I'm going to start screwing this in. So one BM screw just this side here. This is a little bit fiddly. Lining them up is the challenge here. But I've got one side in, so that's good. Let's just do work on this other side here. I've lined up this second hole here, so once I get this BM screw in, there you go, that's going to hold that engine into place. So 2 BM screws holding that in. I've got this bracket here, which is going to be going over this section here. Now I'm wondering which way round this goes. Let me just double check. It can only go one way. It's going to fit one way, so it's going that way just there. I'm holding that in with AM screws each side. Now what I can't tell you is if I've got that in the right way. Yeah, I mean it's fitting and you're never going to see it, but this could be flipped around. But as you can see, it's fitting fine. So now having a close look at the pictures here, they've actually got it in the other way, so I am going to flip this. What you find is, look on the top here, there's a V like that. They've got the point of the V pointing towards the end of the transmission, so I am just going to flip this round. Honestly, I don't know if it makes a difference, but I'd rather it look like the pictures. But being honest with you, because this is kind of like a rubbery material, it will fit both ways. And I don't know if it makes all that much of a difference, but you know, if I do it wrong. So there we go, that's in place. Okay, so we've got a fuel line which is coming from the back of the engine here. It's going to be plugging into this nipple just there. Tidy that up. Now I've got a line coming from here, which is very hard to show you, but it's going to be plugging into one of the nipples on this section just here. This is basically the steering pump connection, and I'm putting this in. Excellent, so that's in place. Now it's worth noting at this stage I do have one lead here which isn't going anywhere, but I've done this one and I've done that one. But with that in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 24, here's the instructions. Looking like this, and look at that, we've got another part of the rear chassis here which we're going to be putting into position just like this and screwing this down. So this is going to be a quick stage. As you see, I've got the bigger bits, but obviously in the next stage we're starting to put wheel arches on. Just missing a wheel arch. Bit of a weird stage not to get, but there you go. As you can see, there's not much to do on this one, so let me just get the screws out ready. And the way this is going to go in, this is going to go in from the underside here, so I don't want to trap these wires into the internal cavity, but this is going to be going in like this here. So I'm just going to see, I've trapped a wire already. Let me just get that out of there. Probably best to just keep them right out of the way while I push this in. There you go. And you know what? By clipping it in, it actually holds itself in like that. No problems at all. We are going to want to put some screws in here though. Now the screws are actually coming in through this side. So we've got IP screws and we need 4 of them in each of the corners here. So I'm just going to do the 2 opposite corners first. Perfect. That's held that in, and then I'll just do the other two corners over this side. Perfect. So that's in place there, and obviously I've still got these pipes just left there, but that's all there is to do in that stage. And now I will show you stage 25, but we're actually going to be repeating what we do in stage 25 in 26. But as I said, I don't have these parts. These weren't in the pack, unfortunately. So it's just 2 items and some screws here, and we are creating the wheel arch on one side, which means in the next stage, which I'm just going to go over to now, which I do have the parts for this, we're going to do exactly the same thing. So it gives you an idea of what I can do. So I could do this pack today, even with that missing stage, and hopefully it'll be here before the next part comes. So let's do stage 26. This is everything in the pack here. So it's this wheel arch that I'm actually missing. I've got the wheel arch for this side here. So the way this is basically going to go, and I'm just looking at these 2 lugs here. This middle one's going to go on here, and it's just, that'll line up the other one just there. Holding these in with BM screws. So I'll put one probably in the center here first. I'll pin that into place. Excellent. And then just one at that end over here. Excellent. So that's the wheel arch in place. All I'm going to do then is just take this part of the wheel arch and put this underneath the section I've just put in, like that. Having this section facing forwards, it's going to be held in with 2 IP screws, which I've got here. Excellent. Once you've got one in, easy to get the other one in. And there you go. So with that in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. Remember, if you're doing this along with me, you'll have this side. I don't have this side yet. Hopefully that will come by the next pack. But looking pretty good. And as you can see, with that massive base, it's coming along. Looking good, huh? That's what it looks like from the underside there. Excellent. If you do want to get this for yourself, it's available through Fanhome. And I have put my links down the bottom in the video description, and you've also got that QR code on the screen. But I really hope you like that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.